friends. Happy Monday. This past week, I read a grand total of 10 books, one light novel that I finished in one day, in one sitting, in one evening. I'm proud of myself for that, and 9 volumes of manga. As always, I'm going to do a general recap, maybe, of each story, hopefully without spoiling anything, and I'll do my best to give a big spoiler warning before I do spoil anything, and then my thoughts and feelings and whatnot about them. I will preface by saying I did drop the first 2 books that I'm going to talk about, and I just want to say when I drop a book, it's just because I wasn't able to get into it, and I have so many books I could be reading that I know I would probably enjoy more, and I don't want to spend my time reading something that I'm not enjoying. Just because I don't enjoy something doesn't mean it's a bad story. It's just not for me. Maybe I'm not in the mood for it that day. I'll never say a story is like inherently bad or inherently good because everything's made for somebody else. Everything is like it's tailored for people. It's hard to talk about because like my favorite book is definitely somebody's least favorite book, and somebody's least favorite book is probably my favorite book. So like it's all relative to people. You can like there's no grand best book of all time, you know? Like it just depends on your opinions. And these are my opinions. So please don't feel angry or sad if I dropped your favorite book here. Okay, let's get into it. My first drop is volume 1 of Lord Hades' Ruthless Marriage. I dropped this because I was looking for I really love Colette. Colette is my favorite series. I love it. And I saw this when it first came out and I was like, "Oh, another Hades story. I need to pick it up. I'm on a Greek mythology kick. I need more." And I read it and like in the back of my mind, I wasn't doing it on purpose, but I kept comparing it to Colette. And I would think like Hades isn't that kind of character. What's going on? Who are all these people? That's not how they're supposed to look. And it's a whole different story, but in the back of my head I kept comparing it to Colette, and I like Colette more. I found Lord Hades' Ruthless Marriage to be a little bit sillier in tone. They also kind of changed things from like the original myths that I just personally did not vibe with, so I ended up dropping it. Overall, from what I remember about this story, it talks about Lord Hades here, who gets shot in the forehead. You can see there with the god of love's arrow. So he has to wear a blindfold because after being shot with the arrow, if he makes eye contact or something with a woman, he'll fall in love with them, and then he doesn't want that because the god of the underworld doesn't need a woman. Okay, he's the god of the underworld. He's meant to be a big scary guy who's all alone. But somebody like breaks into his like inner palace and he doesn't know, so he takes off his blindfold and they make eye contact and the arrow disappears, meaning he's fallen in love with her, but he doesn't feel love for her. Maybe that's just because he's Hades and he can overcome love because he's that strong. And then she requests a wish of him. He says sure, and she wishes for him to like get a woman, but not her, just a woman. And then that's where I dropped it. It was just a little bit too silly for me. I can definitely see myself enjoying it if I wasn't already a really big Colette fan, which is a bummer. So I'm thinking maybe after I finish Colette, I'll give it a few months and then I'll try it when I'm like sad and wanting more mythology content. But for now, so it's not bad. It's not bad. I just didn't enjoy it. I wasn't in the right, like, it's not the right time in my life for me to be reading that right now. And then my second one that I dropped is this one called Golden Time. I picked this one up specifically because I walked all the way to the library just to realize that the books I ordered had not come in yet. And I did not want to leave empty-handed. So I picked it up. I saw that it says it's created from the author of Toradora. And like, while I don't remember what Toradora is about, I do have fond memories of watching the anime forever ago. So I figured I might as well pick it up. Maybe I'll enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it, unfortunately. I did drop it after the first chapter. Don't ask me what it's about. I don't really remember. Even though I just read it. Like, it's about 2 guys going into university and, like, a woman being obsessed with one of them and then following him to university, and she's, like, super rich and blah, 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 blah. It just, nothing wrong with it at all. Even from what I read, like, there wasn't really any objectification or, like, overly drawn proportions. Like, nothing, like, regarding like the treatment of women that I typically dislike in these sorts of manga. Nothing like that was there. It was purely just I couldn't get into the story. Just I couldn't get into it. Nothing wrong with it. Okay. Moving on to the ones that I did like. I did a lot of continuations. I'm kind of proud of myself. Okay. First up is volume 2 of Harumei. This one is a controversial one. Just putting a sticker on it. I know I just talked about how I don't like those two for like really shallow reasons. I did enjoy this one, and this one does go places. Harumei does not have an English publication yet. I don't think it would do all that well in the English sphere, unfortunately. This is a Palsy one. It's published by Kodansha. So we can see on the cover. Can you tell it's a love triangle story by the cover? We follow our female lead, Mei. She's, I think, about 16, so she's a high school student. Her 10 years old, he is 10 years older than her, so he's about 26. Like neighbor who kind of lives with her and her mom. They live like next door to each other, kind of like family, but not related. Haru. And then here we have Len, is his name? Yep. Here we have Len, who is the same age as Mei. So these two are 16, childhood friends. They go to different schools, but they're childhood friends and they get on really well. These two are also childhood friends. He met Mei when he was about 16, I think, so she would have been like 6. She was a child when they met. He watched her grow up, okay? Okay. So so all of them both boys are technically childhood friends with Mei because she knew them as children when she was a child and then grew up with them. Now that she's a teenager, both of them developed feelings for her. So I repeat, he's 10 years older than her and he watched her grow up. He is the same age as her and they're on the same like playing field. Can you guess who I want her to end up with? I really am not a fan of Haru. He is shown to be a rather like kind of a slob in that like he can't even wake up on time for his job, his big boy job, because he's in his mid-20s. He needs Mei to come into his apartment to wake him up and like get his clothes ready for him and whatnot in the mornings. He can't do anything on his own. And he always talks about like, oh Mei, like thank you so much. Like what would I do without you? I couldn't do anything without you. Oh my goodness. That's how we're introduced to him. So already I'm like, if a guy I was seeing needed me to lay out his clothes in the morning, we wouldn't be seeing each other anymore. But moving on from that, in volume 2, we have Mei kind of realize both boys, or the boy and the man, give her like heart-thumping emotions. Kind of like, what's this feeling in my chest? Oh my goodness. Is it love? What is it? And she decides that she's gonna bask in that really nice feeling that is two I'm just gonna call them men. 2 men kind of like not even duking it out, but like really, really trying to win her affections. She is gonna have fun with it. And respect to her because that's what she should do. She's 16. She's a child. She should have fun. But in this volume, we see her go on dates with both of the boys. Boys, men. I'm just gonna use boys and men, okay? Don't it's a lot. So she goes on dates with both of them. I'm gonna yap about this for a sec because I'm all up in my feelings about it. She first goes out on a date. Spoilers kind of for this volume because I'm going to talk about what happens on both dates. She first goes out on a date with Haru. And it's kind of like the in between like, is it a date? Is it not a date? Because he never says, will you go on a date with me to the movies? He says, will you go to the movies with me? What? He has already given her kind of mixed signals and stuff. She sees it as a date. She gets all dressed up. She puts on makeup for the first time. She's beautiful. And she meets up with him. 10 years older than her. Okay, remember that. And originally he was going to drive them to the theater, but they meet up, I think like in front of their apartment compound or whatever. And he's like, oh, I wasn't able to prepare my heart for this. I can't be alone in a close setting with you. Oh my God, let's walk. He's 10 years older than her. He watched her grow up. It was icky. And then they went to the movies. They had a nice time. Nothing like romantic happened. And then it was over. Just him being like, oh, I can't be alone with you. Didn't like that. And then we see her go out on a date with Len. And let me just talk about Len for a second. So Len spots Mei and Haru while they're on their date. And he gets all sad, all like, oh, they're dating. Oh no, like I missed my shot. He calls Mei that night, asks her to meet up, says like, hey, like, are you dating Haru? Do I still have a shot or no? Like, just tell me. And she's like, oh no, like we just went to the movies. We're not dating. And he's like, oh my God, perfect. Okay, so how about this? If I score number one in the next exam rankings, you'll let me take you out. She's like, I'll go out with you even if you don't rank number one. That's okay. He's like, no, I have to earn the date with you. Please let me do this. And she goes, okay, I'll do my best too. There's already a huge difference between both guys, but okay. So she says, okay. And he goes to a very, very prestigious school. But he wants to go on that date with me so badly that he does get number one in the rankings for like history, I think, and runs to her to tell her, like, I want to date with you. Like, thank you so much. We're going to have so much fun. The weekend before their date, he goes out with his sister to scope out all of the potential places that he thinks a woman or like a 16-year-old girl would like, gets his sister's opinion, plans it all out, and then the next week takes her on an excursion to do like a bunch of nice things during the day. Like it was a whole day's worth of date. And it was just so nice and he's so sweet. So like we have Haru being like, I can't be alone with you. Let's walk to the movie theater, which is icky. Versus Len, who who works so hard and does so much planning just for the opportunity to take her out on a date. And if she doesn't end with Len, I am going to just be so disappointed. So disappointed. I know the title is literally Harumei. Len is not even in the title. I know that. Okay. Just let them end up together. Okay. Haru has been in the spotlight enough. His name's in the title. Okay, he's won that. Let Len, that's hard to say. Let Len end up with me, please. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was stressful. And he told me that while they're on their date, she's not allowed to even touch her wallet because he got a part-time job just to be able to afford taking her out. And he wants to like show off as a man and pay for everything for her. He deserves her. Oh my goodness. Okay, moving on to like the less dramatic story. Next one is volume 2 of Kawaii Nante Kiite. This one does have an English digitally only. Unfortunately, the English is called You Are My Cutie. I don't know if this one is completed or not. There is 10 volumes, both in Japanese and in English, but I cannot find any information on a volume 11. But the English side on Kodansha's website, they say it's ongoing. So it hasn't updated in like a year, but I don't know. I'm only on volume 2, okay? I don't want to look into it too much. I liked this one. I still like this one. This one is a very nice series for just when you kind of want to read something like sweet and not all that like complex. You don't want to feel big emotions. Before, this spot of like easy sweet read was taken by Nano ni Chigira-kun wa amasugiru, or And Yet You Are So Sweet is the English title. But that one was a little bit too like young for me, I'll say. This one is like just a little bit more mature. Like 5% more mature in my eyes. I'm enjoying this one a lot more. This one is about a girl named Madoka who really, really likes younger than her boys. It's a high school romance. One day, her father hires a younger than her cute boy to work at like the restaurant. They have a family restaurant. But he's like more handsome than cute. His personality isn't cute. It's kind of standoffish. Madoka's like, great. But throughout volume 1, those two of them slowly become closer and closer. And we learned that this boy, Shikura-kun, Shikura, I'm good with names right now, okay? We learned that this boy, Shikura, is actually pretty cute because he's kind of like an airhead, where like he's very, very forgetful. And it's cute, okay? He's cute in his own like right, if that makes sense. In volume 2, we learn that one of the boys on the like cute boys magazine that Madoka really, really likes to read is Madoka's classmate. He comes to the restaurant, becomes friends with Madoka. And for a second, I was really worried that he was going to be like a potential love interest where we would have a triangle. And I don't want a triangle in my nice, cozy, calm reading book. Thankfully, at least in volume 2, he is not at all romantically involved with anybody. He's kind of like a third party that just cheers on Madoka and Shikura from the sidelines. So he is like an ear to Madoka, like, let me know your woes. Like, do you want to practice confessing to him? Let me help you out. Like that kind of friend. And it was just really nice to see. I really like Shikura's character because typically with the more like tsundere characters, when they're like, for example, when they're flustered, maybe they'll say something mean. And then when they want to like apologize, they'll never say the words like, I'm sorry, I did something bad, please forgive me. They'll like show their like apologetic nature through actions, or like they'll kind of just brush it off, and then the characters around them will typically forgive them. I don't like that. I need an I'm sorry, especially when they're really mean. I need them to say I'm sorry. I need it to match. If they just did something like a little bit rude and then they made up for it with an action, I think that's okay. But if you're like constantly like insulting people because you're like shy or whatever their hang up is, I need them to apologize if they're going to be continuously insulting people. And we have Shikura in volume 2. He has calmed down quite a bit, but he does actually apologize. Like it's a little bit difficult for him clearly to apologize, but he does apologize because he was pretty mean at the beginning of volume 1, but he apologizes for it. And that made him one of my favorite, more tsundere characters, because sometimes you do need to hear an I'm sorry, I was wrong, that was rude of me to assume you were trying to do something shady when you clearly weren't. It's nice to hear the apologies, so I liked that. They haven't as of volume 2, there's no dating yet. Maybe volume 3, I don't know. But it is a more slow burn story, which I like. I do like that they're focusing on the relationship. My favorite kind of like romantic manga is when they start off slow and then they begin dating and then we see them dating and then it ends when it ends. I'm not loving the trending fact or the trending whatever of like slow to start and then it stops when they start their relationship. Like what happens in my next read, which is Kuroko to Akuyaku-kun. I think this one has a or an English. Hold on. It does have an English. Kuroko and Her Sweet Villain. You can read it on K Manga, which is Kodansha's like English manga site. They do it like the first 3 chapters or whatever are free, and then you have to pay with coins to read the rest of it. I read volume 2. Volume 2 is the last volume in the series. I did not know that. So this is a very, very short one. It ends with the relationship, okay? I didn't like that. I needed more. But I finished it. I do think this is a cute series. I think the strongest feature for this one is the beautiful art. The author clearly had a lot of fun with the like villain motif because they take every opportunity to give the characters like little horns and like devil tails and like make them kind of spooky but still cute. I think that's their like main selling point. Overall, the romance in it was cute. I did like it. It is a pretty stereotypical high school romance. I'm very sad it was so short. In this volume, yeah, it ends with them dating. They go on a date. They're cute. I do wish that Kyoda was able to like actually stand up for herself by the end of the volume. Another complaint in this whole series, like the whole premise of it is we have our female lead who's kind of like a shadows character where she likes to work behind the scenes to make other people's days better. And she is happy behind the shadows, living her life. She can't really say no when people ask her to do things because she wants to help out as much as she can. She meets the villain who is really not a villain. He stands up for like the little guy or the people who have difficulties speaking up for themselves. And he sees her being a background character and promises to bring her into the spotlight, make her a main character in her own life. Because everybody should be a main character in their own lives. I really like that. I thought that was cute. But they spend the whole 2 volumes with him trying to get her into situations where she feels like the main character. She's having a lot of fun. Like, isn't it better to be in the spotlight than in the back shadows, you know? But even at the end of volume 2, we still see her like almost give in to peer pressure when people ask her to do things for them. She only doesn't because he steps in. And I really wanted her to grow a little bit more for her to be able to say like, sorry, no. Because it's still really more up to him to stand up for her. And I want my female leads to be able to stand up for themselves. I would have liked it if she grew like with his help, if she grew and then didn't need his help anymore, but stayed with him because she wanted to. Here it feels kind of like she stayed with him because he's helping her grow more and more, which I do like it, but I do wish she couldn't stand up for herself a little bit more. Moving on, I read volume 1 of Victoria of Many Faces. This is borrowed from the library for the second time. The first time I borrowed it, I did not get the chance to read it. My time ran out. I liked this a whole lot. This one has 3 volumes currently in English, and this is the English. It's published in English. I'm holding the English one. There is also a light novel being published, and I might check it out because I did really like volume 1 of the manga. I will say I did judge it before I read it, and it surpassed all of my expectations. It was quite a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Well, not even better. It was quite a lot more to my taste than I thought it would be. That's a better way to put it. This series follows our female lead. Technically, her name is Chloe. She is a former spy who threw her old spy life away, took on the name Victoria, and then moved to a new city to start a new life, like a new country, new city to start her new life. In this new city, on her first day there, she sees a little girl who was clearly abandoned by her parents, decides, you know what, she reminds me of me when I was a kid, I'm going to adopt her. And we follow Victoria and Nonna as they live their lives together. It's a really, really sweet story. It's a lot more like upbeat and lighthearted than I thought it was going to be. While there are still some things clearly like darker going on in the background, I still really like it. There is a tiny bit of romance in it, but I like the romance. I think the male love interest who will definitely end up getting with Victoria by the end of the series. I'm betting all my money on it. I do like him. I think he deserves her. Victoria is able to do literally everything, and we love a strong, independent woman character in our manga. And she's raising Nonna to also be able to do everything for her, and I really like that. I like the idea of like raising a child to not need to depend on anybody. Because like, what if she gets lost or, God forbid, like abandoned again? Though Victoria wouldn't abandon her, she could get kidnapped. Like something really bad could happen to her. So just in case, it's good to teach her like self-defense, how to run away, how to do a double backflip, you know? And it's just sweet. I like the male love interest, but I like that his like role in the story is more in the background. We're following Victoria and what she wants to do, and I really like that. So that's what I'm going to be adding to my collection. Fingers crossed. I have to give it back to the library. And I'm trying to do a thing with the library now where I only borrow volume 1. If I like it, I'll buy it. Because so many times I've like opened books from the library and things fall out of them. It's disgusting. It's really, really gross. And I don't know why people do that. Like treat the library better. There was a book that I wanted to borrow called Shortcake Cake. It's a shoujo beat one. I thought it sounded cute. And somebody doodled all over it, like all inside of it. It was awful. And just, why would you do that? Moving on, I finished a few series. So, first one, I finished Love at First Memory is the English one. Japanese is complete at 5 volumes. English has 1 volume out right now, but it'll be finished at 5 volumes. I can't talk about this without spoiling it, so I'm not going to. But overall, volume 1 is about we have our female lead, Mia, who is a rich 17-year-old only daughter. She lives alone in the country because her parents are who knows where. One day she gets hit by a car, wakes up with total amnesia. She knows nothing. She opens her eyes to see a beautiful blonde-haired boy like holding her hands and like crying, telling her, I'm your fiance. Are you okay? Like, I love you. And she's like, he's beautiful. But she turns her head to see 3 other boys, all like, Mia, are you okay? And she's like, what's going on? And her butler fills her in, like, props to the butler, because he's the only guy she can trust at this point. Butler fills her in that, like, actually, all 3 of these guys who just burst in the room are your boyfriends. The 4th guy who's holding your hands right now, I don't know who that is. And from there, they all end up living together. Even the suspicious one who nobody knows who he is. And they all kind of are fighting for Mia's affections. They all like she wants to get married to somebody, but she doesn't remember who she wanted to get married to. None of the boys know who she was gonna get married to, so they're all trying to fight for, like, "It was me! Pick me! You wanted to marry me!" And it's just it was a sweet story. Sh Volume 5 happened, and I can't talk about my thoughts on it without spoiling it. Maybe I'll do a video just on this series so I can talk about it in full. I do like it at all. Overall, though, I did find it to be very bittersweet, I will say. I'm not gonna say if she ended up with who I wanted to or not, because that in itself will be a spoiler, but it was bittersweet. It was a little bit sad. I don't like bittersweet endings. Another one that I finished is volume 3 of Sono Kao de Aisanaide. This one is a Casey Kiss one, so it is Kodansha. No English that I can find even on K-manga. This one really, really needs an English because I think it would do very well. I loved this. Love, 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 love. This one was crazy. So volume 3 is the ending, and I don't really want to spoil it. But this series follows. We have Nora, who is a maid. When she was young, she was an orphan. She didn't have a name. She had nothing. The young master of a very rich family sees her and decides to pick her up and give her the name Nora. From there, she grows up with him. They fall in love. Everything's so nice. And he proclaims that, like, it doesn't matter that you're a maid and I'm the young master. I love you. I'm going to go tell my parents right now. We're going to get married. And Nora's like, oh my God, like, thank you. Like, I love you so much. He goes, gets into a carriage accident and passes away. So nobody knows that they were engaged. At the funeral, Nora is the only one clearly devastated by his passing away. It's kind of sad. And she turns her head and sees him standing there. And she's like, what? But like closer look, it's not him. It's just somebody who looks very, very similar to him, his twin brother that nobody knew about. He's been called back to take the place of his now deceased brother. And Nora goes right up to him and she's like, you are not the young master of the house. The young master of the house is gone. Who are you? And that sparks an interest in the surprise twin brother, because up until that point in his life, everybody saw him as the twin brother of the young master of the house. People thought they were basically the same person, like personality and looks wise. Nora is the very first one to say, like, I don't like you. You're a completely different person. He liked that she saw him, you know? And he offers to be a like stand-in for his now gone brother, for Nora, to let her like grieve and whatnot. But can you really like move on and like grieve properly when somebody who looks identical, because they're identical twins, when somebody who looks identical to your now gone ex-fiance is like right there and like you can kiss him and like pat him on the head, like he's there, but he's not there. Like I feel like that would mess with your head. That's what the story is about. It's very good. It's very messy. Everybody has a very complicated relationship, but I loved the ending. I think the ending was pretty much perfect. I do not think it needed to be longer. I think the story was perfectly told in 3 volumes. I thought it was very good. I wouldn't mind there being like a slightly longer after story, if anything. But even if there wasn't, I really, really liked it. My last manga read, I'm yapping so much today, was volume 1 of The Color of the End, Mission in the Apocalypse. This one's kind of, I don't want to say like out of character for me, but this isn't something I would do a blind buy of, let's say. This was a library pickup. I did really like it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to add it to my collection or not, but I do want to continue. I'm kind of at a loss. This is very, very good. This one tells the story of an apocalypse happens. There's like a bunch of monster-y creatures that come and basically wipe out all of humanity. And we have a young girl who is like human, but she's not human. Like it's pretty complicated. Whose sole mission is to clean up the miasma left from these monsters and search for human survivors. And every chapter, we see her go to a different location to try and find different people. And it's pretty sad, but it's a very, very well told story. The art is gorgeous, especially the background drawings. Beautiful. I really like it. It's sad. It's very sad, but I liked it. It's a pretty lonely story because we're really only following the girl and like a little monster creature. It's a cute little monster creature, but It can't really talk. So it's pretty sad, but I really, really liked it. I don't want to talk about it too much because I spoil it. But it's very good. It's a pretty simple premise though. Just it's a girl looking for survivors after the apocalypse. That's it. But it's beautifully told. Maybe I will add it to my collection. I want to see where it goes, but it makes me sad. And then my final read, my light novel. I read volume 2 of If the Villainess and Villain Met and Fell in Love. I love this. I love this series. It is a shorter one. How many pages is it? Because I read it so quickly. It's 188 pages total. So that it makes sense that I read it in a sitting and I wasn't even very tired after I read it. So this one is definitely a short one, but it's like short but sweet. Like I really like where the story is going. Can you guess what this series is about based on the title? If the villainess and villain met and were to fall in love, what would happen? It's a really nice one. It tells the story of our female lead, Bridget. Um, when she was younger, because she was unable to make a deal with a very strong fire creature, her father horrifically abused her and then sent her to be, or like set her up to be engaged to one of the crown princes or the crown prince. And so she is terrified. She's been abused. The only person she can rely on is her new fiance, the crown prince. And the crown prince tells her, like, I like dumb girls. Or like, I like girls who wear really big, puffy pink dresses and don't talk. Like he was setting her up to be like, I don't know if it was even his ideal woman, but he was very clearly manipulating her. And she really wanted to be loved. So she went along with it. But eventually she lost herself because she went from being a very shy, timid girl who was very, very intelligent to acting like a very haughty villainess. Eventually, there's a public breakup where it's like, you were bullying this woman that I love who you've never met before. Our engagement is over. Which, like, I feel like that's a common thing in these kinds of manga and light novels. It happens. And when they do break up publicly, Bridget takes a second to be like, what have I become? I'm not a villainess and I'm not dumb. So she takes it upon herself to like create a new her, go back to normal. And in doing so, she meets the villain of the story, this guy here. And the two of them meet and they fall in love. It's a lot more complex than that, but that's the basic story. It is a romantasy, so it's fantasy. Everybody contracts like relationships with elemental creatures. I like that aspect of it because I like a good romantasy, and it's just sweet. I like Bridget because she's a very strong character, even though like she's been through a lot of bad stuff. It's pretty sad, but she's still very, very strong, and I like her a lot. And I read that one. Now I need to get volume 3. But yeah, that's everything I read. I do have 2 more books borrowed from the library that I still have to read, which is volume 1 of Fool's Night, which I was going to do a blind buy of, but I figured I might as well read volume 1 and see. And volume 1 of Mao. I read it in Japanese like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and I found it to be a little bit too slow for me, but I'm 3 years older now. Maybe I'll like it more. So I borrowed it from the library and we'll see. Just because I really like the author and Mao is getting an anime, I'm pretty sure. So I figured like I might as well give it a reread. And that's everything that I read last week.